Alright, guys, hello, and,
Hola.
and hello to JTChinoy. Thank you for joining us today, JT. I really do
Yeah, of
appreciate your
course.
time. Alright, so I would like to. So, would you like to introduce yourself to the stream masters? Because we're already having some people watching us right now.
All right, hey guys, thanks for joining us. My name is JTChinoy, a.k.a. Chacha. I go by Chacha in Japan, JTChinoy in America. You can call me by either, and I respond. I've been playing Tekken in the main competitive scene since Tekken 5. I lived in the Philippines for 1.5 years, and then after that, I lived in Japan for almost 4 years. So I learned a bit of playing Tekken in those places as well as playing here in NorCal. Um, have a I'm a business management background, or I majored in business, and then I'm now in the IT field. So that's what I'm doing right now, taking a break from competitive gaming to focus on that. I think that's about all there is to me.
Awesome. So we understand that you are taking a break from the competitive scene, but does that also make you take a break from streaming? Because people are seeing you online. I think you're like Tekken Lord or something online right now.
Emperor?
You're Emperor.
I don't know. Then, to be frank about it, the online ranking is inflated to hell. That took very little effort. It was, yeah. And then the sad thing is, there's only like what 2 more ranks after that. It was, yeah.
So you feel like
Um,
that ranking, you don't give a fuck about ranking anymore.
I do it just because it gets me better players to practice characters with, but I know I don't see much value in it.
Right.
In terms of like, also I just don't want to brag about ranks.
That's the one thing I'm noticing is that people are just like bragging too much about ranks on Tekken a lot right now.
I mean, it's funny because like I'm a Tekken, I'm a mighty ruler, I'm a divine ruler, I'm a Fujin, I'm a Ryujin, and I'm like, yeah, okay, but it's an inflated environment. And honestly, right now my panda is Fujin, and my panda's bad.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Okay.
not as bad as before, but I'm trying to learn how to play like Rongchu. Well, not like him, but understand just the mentality of a bear player that gets you these wins, even though you're theoretically like the worst character in the game.
I mean, it all started because like me made a misinput on in this
Yeah,
match.
I mean, it just shows you that the tier doesn't matter that much.
Well, Tekken is a pretty balanced game, don't you think?
Relatively balanced, yeah. I mean, you have the characters with major shortcomings. Generally, skill can overcome that to a large degree. Case in point would be, um, what is it, Chloe players.
Oh, with John Ding.
John Ding for one, then in the Philippines or not in the Philippines, and yeah, there's no Chloe in the Philippines. Then in Japan as well.
Okay, that's I find it very interesting about. Okay, what do you think about season 2 so far for Tekken right now? Season 2.
Um, honestly, I don't know enough about every character's changes. I'm somehow just getting by with whatever I see and reacting to it. It seems okay to me. The only caveat I've had that really stuck out was Xiaoyu getting nerfed a lot. While understandable, I feel like they're focusing. While understandable, I feel like it was not. It was more than they're nerfing other characters.
Okay.
But I mean, it's still very, very doable. If you're a smart Xiaoyu player and you're relying on basics, those don't exist. Um, then it's still very doable. I'm not aware of any characters approaching broken tier, or I just haven't experienced this. People that are climbing the tier list significantly. It mostly sounds like people are getting nerfed more than anything.
Kazumi got nerfed. Gigas got nerfed.
Kazumi. So yeah, I brought this up on Bronson stream once, and it was like, I don't know. I feel like they're doing way too much on nerfing her. Just like, stop it, guys. You've been nerfing her since her creation, like, and I've seen the whole process, right? I've been there.
Yeah. You were there.
Tekken 7 beta.
You were giving us videos about Tekken 7 location tests in Japan.
Yeah, so I'm like, I've seen this literally from conception, and well, not conception, since beta, and stop, leave her alone. It's like, leave Kazumi alone. She's already like had so many shortcomings to begin with, and the main thing they gave her that made up for everything was 1+2.
Makes sense.
Because 1+2 Tiger, that was honestly all they gave her to me that was making up for anything. And then after that, it's all like, well, let's take away down forward one. Well, let's take away jab. Well, let's take away standing kick. Well, let's make everything shorter. Well, let's take some frames away. And I'm just like, you're just like nerfing her, and then she has to focus more and more on this very generic play style, because like you're taking more and more like special characteristics away from her, and then down back four doesn't hit grounded anymore.
I'm so pissed off. Like, I play Cosme and I can't do shit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's reasons for these things, and it's like a lot of the stuff that was her go-to moves, but yeah. In terms of the other characters, like also Marduk and Armor King, and Anna, Well, okay, Anna and Lei, I think are generally fine.
Hmm.
Marduk, I can't say much because I've only fought a couple and then I just kind of like scrubbed out like people that are just like jabbing around and relying on tackles and crap. Armor King, he seems pretty good, but I haven't seen a really, really good Armor King yet in person.
Oh, okay.
Um, because the only Armor Kings I've been facing in season 2 were all with my panda, so that doesn't really tell you much. It's like people who rely on down back fours, giant swings, the low kick into the high, which I'm like, why do you keep doing the string? This gets you killed. Um, and then they keep doing the somersault gimmick. I'm just like, this is the dumbest gimmick in the world.
That's so true.
'Cause it's all like mid, or you mid into jump high throw, or and if you miss, you get back turn, and then they get free back turn launch.
Okay, so it looks like we already cut our first question. That's a little bit quicker than I thought. But overall, of the Tekken games, which character do you find the most fun?
Over all the most Tekken games, most fun. Honestly, I can't use him, but I'm gonna say Xiaoyu's not Xiaoyu, sorry, Lei is honestly the most fun character to me. If I had the patience, I would actually be a Lei player now, just because he's kind of like Xiaoyu on crack in terms of the options, not goodness options, just raw options.
Oh, I
Um,
was gonna say he doesn't look that good in Tekken 7 because
well, like Neon Icy Wings said fun. They didn't
okay,
say good. Two
gotcha,
different things.
gotcha,
If you
gotcha.
want the bestest character, isn't it supposed to be Tag One Ogre or something?
Tag one
Tag,
ogre.
Tag One Ogre Waning Moons is one of the. Oh, and then Tekken 2, when I was playing Jimmy, man, Heihachi's cheap.
Heihachi?
Because you get like Jab Twin Piston as a combo. It was like dumb.
All right.
But
So we know that you've been playing Tekken competitively since DR, right? Tekken 5 or Tekken DR 5 DR?
5 actually, but I wasn't remotely relevant until DR. I mean, by remotely relevant, I mean people knew of my existence.
Okay.
That wasn't until DR, but I was there in the background in 5, getting schooled by everybody here.
All right. So recently, that there was a tweet that went around the FGC saying about top players and smaller players and also coaching. So one of the tweets says, top players don't owe smaller player friendlies. How can you think even a smaller player has the right to feel hurt by this?
The right to feel what?
Hurt.
Hurt?
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, by what? I didn't hear it properly.
Top players
Mhm.
don't owe smaller player friendlies or
Right, right.
casuals. How can you
Hmm.
even think a smaller player has the right to feel hurt by the top players not giving them a chance to play?
Okay, so I've been thinking about that quote. You showed me that before, and I've been thinking about it for a while. I even actually discussed it for like 30 minutes with my coworker who's not even a gamer because he's just interested in, this sort of human, just the entire human existence and society. So it's a fun discussion. The way I would put it is, uh, let's say you work for, uh, let's say you're like a professional chef,
Yeah.
and someone wants you to cook for them.
Okay.
You're not even good friends with this person. Some person just says, "Hey, could you make something for me?" And should you? Do you owe them that?
I think the conversation with that whole thing started. Let me just show it so the stream can see. Oops.
Yeah, of course. Um, Whenever it goes up.
Yeah. Let's see. So it's talking about this thing right here. This thing got a lot of attention because um, they believe that everyone starts from the bottom, and they say that you should at least give smaller players a chance to play with the top players.
Sure. I mean, giving them a chance to play with top players is nice and all, but at what point is anyone period. So if someone asked you to play with them, but you weren't in the mood for some reason, or you have a very busy schedule, why should you is the question. It's, just putting it out there, making this an actual,
Mhm.
an out loud thought process. Like, to me, no one owes anyone anything. When you do something for someone, you're doing it as a as a favor. You're being nice,
Yeah,
or you're being.
like how you're doing this interview with me.
I mean, you're my friend, but I
Oh,
mean, it's just, but it's people don't owe you anything, and like when you're at any random convention or any random tournament, you ask anybody. It doesn't have to be a pro. You could ask some random scrub if they want to play with you. And there's a million reasons why they might not. It could be personal, could be not personal, could be professional for like time restrictions or work policy. There's plenty of reasons they can't. So, I mean, you shouldn't get hurt. It's like there's reasons and you need to respect people have reasons. Um, and then, so are you showing the one of the coach guy?
not yet, not yet. I want to get
Not
your
that one.
opinion about this one first. Then
Oh,
you can
okay.
share.
Anyways, yeah. So that's how I see it. Is like they don't owe you anything, and you shouldn't be hurt. You shouldn't be hurt. I mean, I understand if they're your fan and you're disappointed, but if you respect someone, you also have to respect their time.
So basically, they need. Do you think that that's part of the FGC or like Tekken elitism is that people knows their work and their time that goes with it?
I think there are just several communities as a whole. I mean, this just is amongst competitive people in general, or even just in the workplace or anywhere. It's like some people think their time is worth more than other people, or they feel entitled, even though no one owes you anything.
Hmm.
Like, you're at work and you think your boss owes you time. I mean, you know, of course, if they're supposed to give you time to respect you, but they don't owe you that. It's like, well, if they are very, very busy with things that are of higher priority, what can you do? Um, but I mean, bottom line for it all is they don't owe anyone time. If they do play with you, that just means they're a very nice person,
Hmm.
and you should appreciate that. But if they can't, you should just say okay, and understand that.
Right.
Uh, yeah.
Right. So thank you for that. So I started to understand how like it's not much of like elitism, but when you know that you're actually better than most of the people, for example, like I know that you are way better than me, right?
Hmm.
So let's say that I'm just a fan. I'm not your friend. I'm just a fan of you, and
Yeah.
and I really want to play with you, but you say no because you know what your time is, or what you are, or how you're feeling in general.
Hmm.
I should not feel hurt because you rejected my request to play me, right?
It's because it's just because I wouldn't owe you a game. I could give it to you to be nice, but I mean, like, I guess it'll sort of become a rant because the base thing is just no one owes you anything. That's just life, period. Anyone giving you anything is a gift. And then the other way to look at it, which is probably the way the professional, the high level players are looking at it, is um, so for me, example is for me. Let's use me for an example.
Yeah.
If you're someone who's very competitive and but you're the kind of person who requires a difficult opponent to play or to play at your best. You need to be in a challenge environment to keep playing at your peak, and all you want to look for is practice.
Hmm.
But then someone who's your fan um, wants you to play with some friendlies with you, but like say but you're someone who doesn't really do casuals. You always are trying to play to better yourself. Maybe for them, um, it actually notably detriments them. Like I'll openly admit if I play people that aren't like like giving me a challenge in some way or another,
Hmm.
I can't maintain my skill,
No,
or I won't play
no,
my
I totally feel it.
Mhm.
I'm getting some of that right now here in Portland when I first came
Mhm.
here. Like everyone started off new, and I'm so used to like playing you, playing the NorCal guys, that when it came to Portland, I thought I would just be
Yeah.
playing like Kenji and Beastmaster
Yeah.
level, but no one here plays like that. So
Yeah. So I mean that's.
yeah,
Mhm. So I mean, like depending on how you're approaching that reality, though, it's like you're either being egotistic about it, where you're all like, you're not worth my time because you're not going to give me a good practice, or you're thinking pragmatically or practically, which is this just won't give me the practice I need to get better, and it's hard to portray that without hurting someone's feelings realistically.
makes sense.
Yeah, so that's one way to look at it. There's people like similar to me where you need that experience, but at the same time, there are people where um, playing the game just for fun is all the reason in the world they need, and they'll play anybody, and they could keep playing good and maintain that no matter who their opponent is, and they'll play you. But then there's the people who think the game isn't fun unless it's at that challenging level, right?
I see. Yeah, like Jimmy J Tran, right? He rather
Jimmy
plays.
J, he'll play with a lot of people, but obviously he's infinitely having more fun when it's someone who could beat him in something like with a sub character can possibly be a challenge,
I see.
or yeah, um, or someone with a good enough foundations and understanding of the game to give him some sort of challenge where he can't goof off too much.
Right.
And like,
That makes
but I
sense.
mean, Jimmy's a good guy and he'll always have fun. But and luckily he knows so many characters he could play most people at most levels. But um, he's definitely probably happier playing with someone who can like really really give him a challenge because that's one of the fun stuff. Like you see me like I'm pretty quiet when I'm playing casuals with
Yeah, but when you play with Japanese players, you're like
non-top players.
But when you play with Japanese players, you're having more fun. You're laughing a lot.
Yeah, you see me laughing because it's like stuff like it's chance or they
Itaku.
fell for the stupid thing at a high level match. It's
Yeah.
laughing at the absurdity in such an intense environment is what's fun to me.
All right.
Yeah. So I mean, it depends how you're looking at on why them on the other side is not um, willing to play you. But yeah, I'd say it's likely the final one that I was saying where they just don't find it fun.
I see.
But then it's also coming off as within their ego where they think, oh, I'm so good, I made the big leagues, and they're like, you ain't worth my time. They mean it's no fun because I can't use all these high level tricks because it's obvious it's gonna work. There's no risk to it. There's no chance. There's no, I don't need to create a plan or look for strict timing to beat you. It's
I see.
just relative to their skill level, they're gonna be standing still.
Okay, that makes total sense. Right. So a lot of people misses you for streaming not only because like your personality when you actually play because you kind of like do that passive aggressive. Oh, I'm better than you, but I'm still gonna stay humble and stuff like that. Is because that you actually do teach people when they're looking at your stream. So they actually cut you like sensei, senpai, or my Tekken coach when you were streaming, and sometimes you will even play Tekken with those viewers. So
Yeah.
so that's what a lot of people misses you when you stream. So the reason why I'm asking you about that is because of this tweet right here. So
Okay.
this is from a Smash player, but we'll say that will replace Melee with Tekken. So this guy says that he will not ask for casuals if he doesn't have all his time and money. Wait, hold on. Yeah, do not ask him for casual games when he put all his time and money into the game. When
Right.
you could, when he spent most of his time teaching Tekken instead of like playing for fun.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel about this? Because you also teach people, but you teach them kind of like for free, or you kind of like tutor them, but not teach them. And the reason why I'm asking is because like I think in Japan they do this a lot. But Walker Gaming does this. Yamasa does this, I believe, with Obi.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about this?
Well, for Japan, most of them legitimately are doing it for the love of the game, and you can't make Tekken fighting games in general cannot be a legitimate living. There's a couple people who are doing it, but there's like probably sub 10 in that entire country. if that, and they're very extraordinary circumstances. I know Tanukana can make a living off of it, but she's like the best, arguably the best female Tekken player there, or one of them. Then possibly whoever Kuwas is sponsoring at the time, because they kind of change who it is. I don't think Yamasa pays enough. But yeah, so it's not something you can make a living. Whereas here, and especially in these other games like Melee or League, Dota, FPS games, they can make a legitimate living. So that's the mentality is different, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like this is their career, and so what this guy is saying, and he's trying to be very, like, in my opinion, he's trying to be very courteous about it. Just it comes off as a little harsh. Is that whole saying, if you're good at something, don't do it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. And like, say you're a business consultant for a living, and people pay you like hundreds of thousands of dollars for like 2 months of your time. Then someone asks you about their startup, like just some guy at just at a social networking thing. Like, not just the little things, like, giving to me, like what I do, where I give them feedback. That's one thing. You're giving them general feedback. I'm not going into I don't go super details and make them play again and be like, stop, that's wrong, and then keep going. I don't do that. That's probably what this guy does. He's a legitimate Melee coach, like telling you every little thing you do wrong as you do it. And then, but then, yeah. So if you're not going to do that at a social networking thing. You make hundreds of thousands of dollars over this. If someone gives you this information, you literally just lost like what, 50 grand on the spot.
Ooh, yeah.
If you think about it that way, right? This is valuable. So like for him, example, like let's say he makes $300 a day. You divide that by 8-hour day. Let's see, that is 30, 40, almost $40 an hour. His time's almost worth $40 an hour. He gives you an hour of time to do casuals with him, and then you're asking him for input. Like, it sounds like this guy doesn't enjoy the game anymore. That's what it sounds like, because like Jimmy, he'll just play people.
Yeah.
He loves the game, legitimate love of the game. Nobi, legitimate love of the game. Take, half love of the game, because I don't know. I wouldn't say he fully loves it. He's no Nobi. Nobi freaking is in love with this game. You know what I mean? Though it's like people who are in love with the game, they'll play casually you just cause. But that's because they love it. They're not looking as opportunity cost. This guy sees opportunity cost. So an hour of his time is $40. So he lost $40 playing a casual with you and giving you free advice. And you're not, well, he just does it for a price. It doesn't say he's doing it for professionals. So that's the way you need to look at it. Don't think he's being elitist. Even if they're coming off a little brash, you need to look at their point of view too.
For elitism, what is your definition? Let's say like Tekken elitism, right? When I say that to you, what do you think?
So when you're an elitist, you're someone who you won't even associate yourself with people unless they're of a certain skill level or of a certain status, social status, or of a certain like level of brand. Like you need to have your value within the community. You need to be a celebrity in your own right. And those are only people you want to interact with. Those are only people you want to associate with. That's what elitism is in personality. When you're talking about gaming, it's going back to the thing of where they only want to play someone good, but the thing is they're also thinking about, being a celebrity means you're good, and I only want to be affiliated with good players, because being affiliated with trash is being affiliated with losers. And that's what elitism is, in my opinion. Is like I'm not a plebeian, I am the elite. Right. And you only want to be with people like that. And if you're asking my opinion of those people, it's all like, well, whatever, you go be a dick over there.
All right.
I'll just have my friends. Thank you.
Right. So those were the two main questions I want to talk about. So thank you so much.
Mhm.
And so right now, thank you to everyone that actually sent me your question through Facebook, Twitter, Discord, and even Instagram. The Instagram one are very interesting, as I said to you earlier. But
Okay.
for now, let's talk to the one on Twitch. So
Sure.
what you been up to?
Who said that? What you've been up to already
So,
asked? It has
so
not been asked. What have I been up to? I've been up to is a constant self-existential crisis and self-reflection of my priorities. Solely because it's kind of my time to focus on my career. Throughout these years when I've been playing Tekken competitively, working in Japan, working in the Philippines. I didn't really have a set career. I wasn't really in a career I felt really happy about. And now I'm in a really good place at work. I love my job. I love people at work. And
didn't you just announce on Facebook saying that every conversation room there's like a Kushi catch or something?
that is the most random crap. It's super funny. Um, yeah, and I get it. It's very considerate, but it's super quirky at the same time. There's ways to, it depends how you're looking at it. Um, I love it. I think it's very typical of our culture, because we're very semi-casual and progressive.
Right.
But yeah, it's like work's fun because we can sort of think of these quirky things, and depending on how it helps environment, like lightening the mood, but being mildly not particularly intrusive is always welcome.
All right.
Uh,
So they say that you've been under the radar, so I'm assuming it's because of work and where you are right now.
work and trying to get back in better shape, like the American life of vehicular reliance has been weighing down on my overall fitness, and I am trying to really overcome this handicap per se relative to Japan, which is a Tokyo specifically, which is a pedestrian culture.
I see.
Uh, so those two things are mostly what's keeping my time. I honestly haven't been super focused on any video game. Smash came out, Pokemon came out, and I find it hard to focus on those. Um, I have limited energy. People just have limited energy, and there are just a lot of days where I'm just out of energy.
All
I
right.
play I play Tekken casually, here and there for shits and giggles, but I'm not looking to be super competitive because the stress of trying to compete at that high level, you have to be consistent, and
Yeah.
I don't want to put in the time to be consistent right now. Maybe later, we'll see. But right now, I'll focus on the other parts of my life.
So let's see. So people that have you on Steam, they see you that you are offline, but you like, randomly pop up onto like people's stream. Like you popped up onto Sweeken's stream. You popped up into like I think Fighting GM stream. So people are wondering,
Wait, did I play Fighting GM once?
yeah, you play Fighting GM. My friend like sent me a link on Discord saying, "Hey yo, what your boy JT is on the Fighting GM stream."
What character was he using?
Uh, let's see. He I think he was using Lee, but you were using Josie.
What's his username?
I don't fucking know. He's an East Coast.
I don't know.
But anyways,
I
so people are sniping you over and over again, and then people are wondering if you are playing right now, how come you're not streaming?
Because I don't want to. So, like I said, I have like kind of limited energy, especially after work. I have a 1 hour commute each way, and every other day I try to go to the gym for 2 hours after work. So that turns an 8 hour day into a 10 hour day. And when you get home and you only have like 2, 3 hours left, and you just kind of want to unwind, streaming to me isn't really unwinding when it's sort of when you're streaming, you need to be pretty consistent, and I can't be consistent, so I'd rather not.
Well, have you ever thought about being like, surprise, I'm streaming just and I don't know when I'm gonna stream, so like little present for like subscribers. Me.
You.
I'm still using your emote, man. I'm still paying $5 a month for you, and you're not even streaming for like a year now. That's why.
I
That's
am
why people. That's why
consistently
people.
using your Spotify, half of that money for half of a Spotify. I appreciate, by the way.
I'm surprised that you haven't been using that money just for like a new chair,
Man, so I'm looking at those what are those 500, not 500, like $400 chairs. Trying to figure out how to afford one.
man. So yeah, people
You know
are
what I'm
just
talking
like,
about? They're
yeah,
like
yeah,
all over Facebook.
yeah, I know. So people are
Yeah.
just like wondering how come JT's not streaming when we see him online? Like even though he says offline, we see him on these like random people's streams. And even we can ask like, how come you're not participating in like the Geico online tournament?
The Geico Online tournament, the sole reason I don't play is for the internet connection.
Is it that bad?
To my understanding, I believe I was talking to Jackie about it, and he said it's pretty disgusting.
Gotcha.
Just because there's gonna be people from east side of Midwest and full on East Coast, and so internet connection wise, it's just not good quality to me.
All right, let's see. Another question. Um, because you are known in Japan and you are a secret player here in America, what is the difference between playstyle between America, Japan, and Korea?
Mm, so man, I've talked about this one like a lot over the years. It's an interesting discussion though, very interesting because my view on Korea changed, on South Korea, sorry, changed after I met the Hwarong and the Kazumi player that were in top five at Evo Japan last year,
Mm-hmm.
or this year. Sorry, that was this year. So I guess I'll start with Japan because they're the most different from them all. The base concept of a typical Japanese player, because there's people like Nobi, is they are prediction based, but that's an oversimplification. What general Japanese play style is it's predictive by reading human habit, and this habit goes beyond Tekken. This is your natural rhythm, like your beat, like and this is hard to change. Very few people, according to them, don't have this rhythm, or they can't perceive it. Some people are just so offbeat they can't. Your typical Japanese person can't perceive it. So like, like some people do like dash dash stop dash or backdash forward or backdash sidestep. That's your habit. But then it's like, okay, so that's your base habit. That's baseline. And so, okay, I'll catch you. And then you're like, okay, I won't do backdash sidestep. But the thing is, you still want to do your inherent instinct is backdash something, and it's very hard to not do that, right? Because you have emotion. It's like your kinetic energy per se is you want to do these things, or so it's a lot of Yomi in terms of your instincts. They are reading your instincts.
Wow,
Is
that's
the best
scary.
way to put it.
That's scary.
And so it'll go beyond your character. Like so, if you switch character, you still will be on the same rhythm, whether the options change or not. You're on the same rhythm, and that's what they look for. They're fighting that. They're fighting your very human nature. So it's a very interesting way to play. So like actually, incidentally, they have very bad reaction time relatively. Like relative to their skill levels, I get away with a lot of crap. Um, so for me, well, let's not get into me. Let's move on. So next, you have the Korean playstyle. Korean playstyle, I found out at least the current meta of it. I used to have a different opinion of it because the old opinion was, and like my discussion with people is that Korean playstyle will be very, very frame based, very, very minimalistic, um, and very aggressive and very reaction based. So it's pretty much you're doing prediction versus reaction. That's the best way to look at that.
Hmm.
And then I found out, and so from that belief, I believe that um, American players are a derivative of that. Like they were mimicking the Korean style. And what I see often, both um, in America and I saw this in the Philippines too, is everyone tended to at least before they would tend to take the final result of the Korean approach. Like they would just take the mix up of the Korean approach, but they didn't take the underlying concepts of why.
Yeah.
Like example is Rongchu is doing all this crazy stuff with Bear, and everyone keeps asking, why is it hitting? And then they try it themselves. I try it myself. That's why I can say this. And there are, and it's the same thing, like how I would say my Xiaoyu it has so much meta in it.
Yeah.
Like I know
Your
you know, I know you know this,
Your
but
Xiaoyu's
I'm
a
not
bitch.
good.
Your Xiaoyu's a bitch,
Huh?
by the way.
But no,
Yeah.
like every mix-up, it's 3 options, but it's 8 layers of mental thought.
Yeah.
So pretty much, crap, lost it. But yeah, so that's what Rongchu is doing too. Is people are, or that's what people do is they take the final result. They don't understand there's so much meta in there, and you have to train your opponent in that meta. So like, Xiaoyu, I will sweep you at the wall. And the next turn, you're like, okay, now I'm gonna block his next sweep. But you've played me a long time, and you know the next one's probably a mid. So I sweep again.
Yeah.
And then a spectator who doesn't see you play regularly is like, how does that keep hitting? And
Yeah.
I'm like, have you ever played this guy?
Yeah, that's why you always do the Nitaku with the shooty.
Dude, that is, oh my god. And then I landed it again with the Evo this year. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I will
Okay,
never stop
so
laughing at
for
that.
some back context, like this is what actually got me to Tekken because of JT, and you guys don't know Shooty runs the streams for I believe Sugamo Arcade, and during Evo last year and this year, uh, JT always does the AOP mix-up. Like you don't know shall you get 2 types of mix-ups, 2 mids and 1 low. So you either get like a safe launch, a mid, and or a sweep from AOP. And so it's literally you have to guess. And every single time Shooty gets wrong, he always assumes that it becomes a sweep and it becomes a big launch. And Shooty fell for that at least 10 times each year.
For further background, last year, Shooty for his final match had to play Trey, Peeling.
Yeah.
Trey opened up with that very mix-up, and it kept hitting. And I'm like, okay, it's cool. Shooty's got this. He's just gonna pick it up, and then he's gonna block the mid because he got hit last time. They fucking ducked again. He got hit again. And he's at the wall, so he's dead in 2. And then I'm like, okay, next round. Keeps getting hit by this every like 8 seconds or so. It was mind-boggling. And then I'm like, okay. So we go back to the
Hotel
room. We go back to a room because I was rooming with Shooty. And then the next day, first thing in the morning, we play. And I'm like, hold on.
You guys played early, like very fucking early.
We had jet lag. What are you gonna do?
I know it's jet lag, but oh my god, I was so like you guys were playing at 5 a.m. You guys were doing like first 30s, like come on.
I don't know. Jet lag. Don't know what to tell you. Anyways, yeah. So I'm like, okay, let me try this out. And so I just start running at him, and he's gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna backdash out. And then I'm like, run up, AOP, pause, power wave, and it hits him. I'm like, it fucking worked. And then he's just like having a giggle fit next to me, and I'm having a giggle fit. We're just laughing our asses
Dude,
off.
I was having a giggle fit. Are you kidding me? Shit. Like
I kept hitting, and then he's like, okay, won't hit this time. Then I trip him, and then he's like, crap. So he is doing lows. And then we go back to it, and I keep doing like more mids, and he's just like, 2 or 3 games later, he's just like, we're done here. I'm out. And he leaves. And then our other friend, Lychee, joins, and then starts working on him too. And so I'm just like, that was probably the funniest morning I've had like in a very long time.
let's just say it woke me up real quick. All right.
Huh?
It woke me up real quick when you guys kept on playing.
Oh my God.
Giggling. I just have no choice but to look at it.
It was so funny.
So we got a question from Winterwolf. Let's see.
Sure.
Okay, sure. I mean, I'm learning Tekken playing Leo. Okay. I'm assuming it's that how do you get better in Tekken when you are entering Tekken?
Okay. So there's two approaches to learning the game. Well, okay, there's only one official approach. Then you have the people who don't learn the game, but they get good anyway with some like random ass crap. Like they're really good at gimmicks. Like Trey started out like he just did his Xiaoyu Lei thing that did 60-70% at the wall because it was only that team who could do the stupid ass stupid ass combo. But the risk reward for him and with the Lei stance mix ups and a lot of capoeira players start like this. Xiaoyu players especially start like this. Xiaoyus are like the worst at it. You could start off just by learning the gimmicks and mastering the gimmicks, or like, sorry, not gimmicks. You become a master of what makes them unique, and unfortunately, that's all you know. You don't think about the rest of the game. You're just thinking about the frames of your character and how to make people fall for them. This is generally not the best way to do anything because it's like the thing where you have a good head start, but you don't have a good finish. So the best way to learn it, honestly, Leo players do it too. They rely on that back one all freaking day, or they just keep doing strings and then they go into this and they're like, yeah, and then they rely on sweeps and things.
All right. I hate gimmicks though. I'm learning combos for Leo right now. Any suggestions on good combos for Leo?
Okay, two things with that. I'm not a Leo player, so I can't give you good combos. Part two, I didn't get to the point. The point is, you want basics. You want your basics. From your basics, you can build, because when you have your basics, you have the same foundations as everyone else. If you have a different general mindset than everyone else, great, but you need those basics. Because you could build your different mentality off their same foundations. But if you look at the game differently, think outside the box. You know the rules, but now you're trying to change it. That's how you should do it if you're trying to be different. If you want to be a standard player, learn the basics so you know the rules, and so you can keep pushing the rules. For the Leo combos, I unfortunately can't tell you because I don't know the inputs. I just know generally anything to get them to the wall, literally anything. Like, I think Wayne Gamble loves doing jab, jab, jab into screw so that he'll just wall carry you and then just do the wall carry Oki, which just does absurd damage. Pretty much all her damage is at the wall. Get into the wall. Just get into the wall. Whatever you have to do.
Right. Cool. Yeah. So I'll just put that as the answer. Learn basics. Go to sample combos in the command list when you're in training mode.
Yeah.
That will help you learn how the combo system works in Tekken, but it gives you an understanding of what you can expect and what need to. Let's see.
Okay. Main style is
Ayana.
Anya.
Anina. Ayane.
Ayane. Oh, Ayane. So can you, BK, can you explain what that style is? I know for Dead or Alive, they just tend to be very run at them and
yes. So you guys,
you
guys do not know. I used to play Dead or Alive competitively, and with Dead or Alive strings, when you think of combos, so all the combos in Dead or Alive is not guaranteed. It's a rock paper scissors. You're literally hesitating to finish the string, so you catch so you don't get countered because counters are actually 0 frames. So that's instant, or you're trying to bait. That's basically what Dead or Alive combo system is. For Ayane is a lot of mix-ups, so you don't know how Ayane plays. She will strike, then she will turn around, so that's her spin, that's her mix-up for 50-50s. So you literally have to guess or not do anything at all because that's her playstyle. So you want to play someone similar to Ayane, which is like rush down.
Everyone has something like that.
Yes.
Not everyone. A lot of characters, and honestly, a lot of them are the more basic ones. Like Brian can do that. Dragunov can definitely do that. Chloe can do that on the low end of the tier. Xiaoyu, not as much, honestly, in terms of spinning. But there's a lot of characters who could do similar things, which are just what you're looking for is a cancel. You want characters with cancels.
Yeah.
If you like cancels, Dragunov is good at that. Eddie's good at cancels. Lei's good at cancels, but you have to be like someone who likes transitions for Eddie or Lei. You need to like transitions.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
Late has cancels. She has a lot of cancels.
Yeah, no, but you have to like transitions,
Hmm.
is what I'm saying. Because there's a difference between just doing straight, 1, 2 spin, and then it's one of the three moves, which it's like high, mid, low. Everyone has that to a degree, but then to have like full on transitions as part of the mix up to take them into the next 50-50,
Man,
that's like more of a stance transition thing.
man, I can't wait for Jack, the Winter Wolf here, to play Huarong.
Wait, who?
Huarong, because he has so many stances.
Oh, ugh, Huarong. I miss being able to beat him.
Yeah, then you play Batsu, I believe.
I do surprisingly well against Batsu.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Let's
but
see.
that's a play style thing. But anyways, yeah. Also, so to follow up back on the basics, there's one thing that no one really says out loud, which is you need to know your character's combo count, which is generally, so most characters is about 6 to 7 hits is how many hits after launch your character can get in a combo. And at a certain point, you have to screw. You have to do screw to continue the combo. So, like, example is Jack. The fourth hit is the last possible hit that can be a screw hit. For Xiaoyu, it is the fifth to sixth hit. And the maximum number of hits you'll get is 7 to 8 hits, right? For Xiaoyu. 7 to 8. Then, so every character is different. For Kuma Panda, the hit count tops out at is 6, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's roughly 6. But yeah, so you need to know that as a rule of thumb, so you could ad lib as well. Like, it's not just knowing these combos; it's you need to know why it's those hits in the combo. So, like, if we're talking Kazumi, for example, Kazumi's max hit is 9 actually, but that is really hard. Realistically, 10. Sorry, it's 10 if you include Tiger.
Okay.
So it's 10 hits for Kazumi. 9 is her standard.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know about the combo counts. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not important to talk to people about them because everyone's supposed to inherently understand their character's combo count. But yeah, you need to know that in order to start ad-libbing more. And then you need to know what moves will fit within that combo count.
I see. Is Law a good character to do stances? I don't think he really has stances. They're more like cancels just to do more attacks.
Wait, who?
Law.
Oh, for who? Law?
Yeah.
No, Law is not good for stances. Law has 2.
DSS and Dragon Rush and then the walk back dragons.
3. Sorry, in that walk back thing, 3. So 3. But they don't last long. They last a single mix up. They're not something he's meant to stay in.
All right. Let's see. How do I stop being a scrub?
Get good.
Get good. That's it.
I think that was the answer there. But again, it's so the number one thing I learned is self-awareness and a readiness to lose. Those are the main 2 things. The point of this, the point that I'm saying is those in that very simplified manner is self-awareness is you need to know what's killing you. So like, why'd you lose? What did it? If you didn't do anything wrong, your opponent's just wailing on you. Why? And you need to figure that out, and you need to find the solutions. You have to constantly do this. You don't just keep doing the same thing over and over. I actually quoted this to my friend. I'm not sure if it's a real quote or if it's just from some random show. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing twice and expecting a different result.
Oh, okay.
And the point of that is you could fight the same guy 20 times, but you keep doing the same thing 20 times. What did you get out of that?
Yeah, that's true.
So the point is you need to be aware of that and work towards it. The second part, not being afraid to lose. The point of that is this happened to me a lot. I know why I'm losing, but it's hard to change it because you're panicking and relying on your instinct.
Yes, that's right. That's me right now.
So what happened with me is I started slowing down. My overall movement slowed down, but the reason is I'm being conscious. Because if you keep going, especially in these days, you keep going through the motions, people are more keen, I think because of YouTube and everything, exposing all this information, people are more keen to adjusting to you having patterns. Someone just asked me on Steam, because I beat them in a death match, and it was one of those things where they kind of lose confidence in their existence.
Me.
I mean, people do that.
Yeah,
When you're
yeah.
losing and you don't know why, or you don't have an out, you just like get really sad, and I understand that. I definitely, how many times have I lost? Like people might see my wins on a PC or PS4. They're like, "Ooh, you're so good after 400 matches." What you don't see is there's that one that's doubled, so that was 800 matches. Two, in Japan, that's 12,000 matches. I have more matches in Tekken 7 than most people have until now in the console version.
Dang.
Yeah, so that's a lot of losing. So you need to lose to take the time to try something new. And yeah, you might lose, but you're learning something. You gotta confirm these situations. You're not gonna confirm it just in theory. You have to make it a muscle memory.
Right.
And also, the greatest learner is the greatest teacher is experience. Making the mistake, understanding the mistake, and never doing it again.
That's why a lot of people like you when you teach people Tekken.
It's because, I think it's because people can identify with that. And yeah, it's a very identifiable thing, and I teach it at work all the time, since I've been there longer than the rest of my team, or not the rest, but a good amount. And sometimes I just don't help them on purpose. Like I see what they're doing wrong, but then I'll walk away because I'm gonna have them get the experience of doing that firsthand. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Can you elaborate more on transitions?
Sure. Transitions. So the transitions is when you're doing a string and then it will go into a stance. That's what a transition is. And it's when a stance will transition into a different stance. So example would be Xiaoyu going AOP, and then she'll go into AOP stance, then she'll go back turned. That's a transition. Our transition is if Xiaoyu does 4-4-2-1, cancels the 1, and now she's back turned. Those are transitions. That's what transition is, changing of stances. A lot of characters have these transitions. Relatively not too many. Maybe a third of the cast has actual stances. But yeah, that's what a transition is.
All right. Do you feel it's easier to play on a stick or controller when playing? It's a preference, yes, but which do you play on and why?
I play on stick for the arcade. Luckily now for the scene as a whole, you can play either or. Back in the day, we're always talking about, oh, you have to play stick. That's where the arcade is. And then every time someone like Fab or Rip before, not Core. Yeah, some people like them who are dedicated pad players, or used to be anyway. They went to Korea or Japan, and they get wrecked. And I'm sure some the locals are all like, why are these people here? And it's like, well, you're making them play on stick, and they play stick maybe once a year, so they're down to like 60% capacity at best.
Speaking of stick, can we see your Kobo Rays made stick?
I actually just pulled it out because my other stick was giving out on me.
Do you just hit on it? Okay.
This is a stick I did in collab with Kobo. If you guys know her, she did the design of the panel art and these logos here. She also did this circle here, which says Cha, which my name's Chacha. And incidentally, the circle there, Maru is to be round or circular, so incidentally it says Chachamaru right here.
Oh, can we see the Xiaoyu again?
Right there.
There you go.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
And then funny thing, so Genya pointed out when I posted this on Twitter, it's like, oh, I love how Xiaoyu's hand is reaching for the stick. It's like you guys work together to win. And I'm like, I love you guys and this like very idealistic, over romanticized um, relation between the character and the player. Granted, I've been a hardcore shiny for a long time. I play other characters for the hell of it. Thank you, Winterwolf. Um, but you know, as an American, I find it overly corny. As someone who lived in Japan, I completely understand what they're doing, and it's really funny.
One thing I like about your stick though is that you actually changed the LEDs from blue to purple.
Oh, that one. I was supposed to make a video about that. I forgot.
This is okay.
Or I just got busy. But yeah, that took me a long time, and I actually had to salvage parts to make it work because I destroyed one of the boards.
All right, let's see. How do you drill out habitual mistakes? Do you think you need a partner to effectively practice habit correction?
You don't need, well, so you need a partner, as in someone to play with who tends to put you in that situation. You don't, and honestly, for me, sure, there is practicing with someone, doing it over and over, but the problem is you're doing that in a controlled situation. You know what's going to happen, so you can plan this out and you do it. Sure, it's good to do it a couple times to know it's there, but realistically, it's not going to build a real muscle memory or an instinctual understanding of that. But some people, of course, they learn muscle memory just from that. They could just do it like once or twice, like done, and then they'll do it every time. But for me, it's you just have to be conscious of it, and that's the whole thing again. Where I slow down when I play these days because I'm conscious of all these things.
Let's see. Wow, dude, I would have done the same. It's a art piece. They are loving your fight stick, man.
I'm glad, you know. So I also just one more thing about it is once Kolbare created her own logo, I put it on.
Yeah,
and that was after she finished.
Yeah, she was surprised that you wanted her logo on.
I mean, it's her art, and I think it's nice, you know, to have the artist's name on it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so going on, we actually have a very specific question when it comes to tournaments.
Okay.
All right. How do you keep mentally calm and ready when it comes to matches and tournaments? Does it change? Does it get harder the higher you go in the bracket? Are there any difference? Are there any different things you do to combat fatigue or jet lag or anything similar?
That's a good question. Base point that will cover the vast majority of that question is when I'm in a match against someone I know I can't just try in my standard state to beat. Like, the rule of thumb, and I learned this the hard way, is 100% every time. Doesn't matter if they're a scrub or not, because in Japan I learned the scariest opponents have no rank in a tournament. No, like, because you have these old legends coming out of retirement all the time in every game. They just come out of freaking nowhere, and they don't have a card, and you're in a one-game format. And so you're like, oh, okay, well, crap, I have no idea how to gauge them. There's no rank to gauge them with. So you have to go 100% every time. But then there's an opponent, you know who they are, or you've heard a rumor, and you need to be that much more on point. For me, I'm trying to get back into it. I haven't been doing it as much since in 2018, is mindful meditation, because I'm someone who tends to, like, you know, you have too many thoughts, especially if you're slightly ADD. You're kind of like thinking here and there, like the whole rambling issue. Your thoughts are just jumping. And it makes it hard to focus on any discipline, whether it's studying for work, certifications, doing well in Tekken. It helped me. And before, it would take me 10 minutes to do this meditation, and I need to be left alone. And even right now, I do it again. But there was a core point in there that clears my mind and keeps me. It like kind of wipes me, and it wipes me of like my memories and everything, or not my memories, my like nervousness, and at least puts me in a very grounded state where I can just look forward. And so I do that. Like, if you go back to some of my matches in Japan and like it has a camera on me, you actually will see me just like close my eyes and take a deep breath, and then I don't do anything until this match is about to start. At that point, I'm clearing my mind.
Okay. Other than ninth place at Evo in 2015, what was your? Is there any other highest place ranking that you placed in the tournament? Other
The
than
o-
locals, obviously.
the only the only title I have that I care about is I am the first two-time Xiaoyu champion of Japan.
Hey, good job. That's hard to
I
do.
went to
That's
that
hard.
Xiao and I beat the best of them two in a row. I was the first person in the world to ever set that record of one, a double time champion, two in a row.
Dang.
So I set the first streak. Unfortunately, the guy beat me the following year, and he became the second person to be twice, but no one's streaked yet.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Coming from
Um,
2D fighters, how does Okizeme work in 3D in Tekken, and is it similar in some aspects?
how does Okizeme work in 3D Tekken? So are some aspects. I'm going to go with a no because or sorry, I'm going to go with it's very different conceptually because in 2D games it tends to be once they're down, they'll bounce right back up. There's no third dimension and need to like do any odd spacing to screw up their wake up that much more or get an advantageous position. Um, and they just kind of bounce up, and they're either gonna and when they bounce up, most of the time you know when they're gonna bounce up, so you just put in a low mid overhead mix up or low overhead mix up, or you're gonna throw them, or you're gonna call them on say a DP, and so you just like pressure, 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 block, kill, or something like that, or you set a trap because you know exactly when they're gonna get up. In Tekken, the difference is taking a hit on the ground is sometimes the best option you can, and you can just lie there. You don't have to get up, and so that makes it a very different gameplay. It's like, well, sometimes you want to take the ground hit yourself too, like if they're at the wall and you're down, you do full crouch down forward 4. You get one little mini poke, they're still at the wall unless they tech, and then you're an AOP. And then if they tech, now they're stuck right next to you in a mix-up. You don't quite do the same thing in a 2D game because there is no option to just take the hit and go away. Like you don't want insta tech against a Brian at the wall because then that's tech
That's
taunt
that,
jet
that
upper.
that's a guaranteed
And
taunt jet upper.
so
Yeah.
you need to do delayed tech, or back in Tekken 6, the best option was take the damn hit on the ground and go and just tech away. That was actually legitimately the best option. So for me, that's why it's very different.
What makes Japanese players weak in tournament settings compared to Koreans?
Japanese players weak in tournament settings. Again, it goes well, and not again in terms of answers this question, but returning back to what I was saying about playstyle, the weakness is they rely on human nature, and depending on the player, that can take a while to figure out. Ideally, in any, no matter where, like even what I was taught here in NorCal is in a tournament, ideally you take one round tops to figure out what they're doing. So ideally, they very first round they don't go on a rampage, and you're given enough information to figure out what their approach is. Unfortunately for Japanese players, because they're trying to understand your human rhythm, sometimes they might take too long to understand what it is. So I would say a Korean player is better. Oh, I didn't get back. Sorry, I didn't get to finish what a Korean playstyle is now. That's what it used to be, reaction based. What it is now is it's speed, all speed.
All
Like that's
speed?
why they can speed, small moves, fast. No, like soccer kick is dangerous in Japan. Low soccer kick, a hatchet, dangerous. Kazumi down back 4, dangerous. Too slow. That is how fast they play. Like when I was playing the Kazumi player, I think he got first or second in Evo Japan. We played some very nice kid, um, and he straight up said, "Actually, Kazumi's really bad for Xiaoyu." And I said, "Why?" Well, at the time, pre-season 2 nerfing, uh, she Xiaoyu has a lot of forward wind-up moves, so she's actually a slow character,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Because she has to wind up, and then what sidestep 4 is a relatively slow move. And so it's like, what are you gonna do? So say Xiaoyu sidesteps and you're Kazumi. What are your options? Sidestep 4, 4-3, or 1+2. They're all slow.
Yeah.
If you're a fast player, down forward 1 Kazumi will beat everything out.
Okay. Outside of Nobi and Take, who are the strong tourney players in Japan?
That doesn't say in Japan.
Well,
That
I'm
says
assu-
period.
well,
So that's
I'm assuming Japan.
strongest tournament players. I'm not gonna say double. Double is a
Did it? We had
match
this.
player.
We had this discussion with Jimmy J Chan on
Yeah.
Evo, saying like double is either hot or cold. He's not consistent.
I could agree with that, but I would say he's a deathmatch player because I beat him in tournament too.
Okay.
But that's one round, and I just like, and he just seems to play. He seems to slow play a lot. And if you're slow playing against me as Xiaoyu, you'd better be ready to punish something I do in a heartbeat, because I'm like gonna just try to space you with her basic moves.
Let's see. Let's see. Yeah.
So let's see, Nobi Taka. I don't know why you guys aren't. What about Naroma? Naroma is like the golden boy. Like Nobi was the golden boy, then Take was a golden boy. Now they old, so now Naroma is the golden boy.
I don't know. Yeah, chat. How come you're not talking about the Roma, chat? Come on.
Yeah, but so I would say Naroma's super good. I'll still say Amigo. I don't care that he lost to Mazen. I'll put Amigo very high on the tournament because he won Evo Sai, which is very hard regardless. And then trying to think, their monsters. What is it? Gen. If he's playing, Gen is a monster. I'd say Kare too. Actually, no, Kare. I don't know if I can give it to Kare. That's a tough one. Or Kari. Sorry, Kari. I don't think I give it to Kari. But yeah, so Norma and Amigo, definitely. Kari is a maybe. He's a beast, though. That guy's a monster.
Let's see. Asia would like to see more cheating. What do you think about cheating? Perm.
Chiri
Perm.
is the Chiri is the biggest otaku in the world. In the most non-offensive way, that guy loves this game so much. Like, Kuas dropped him, and he didn't skip a beat. He just streamed on his own. It didn't matter if you sponsor him or not. Chiri's gonna just stream. He just loves this game so freaking much. That's what I think. And he's more akin to me in terms of he is the result of hard work. He is a result of passion, dedication, and hard work. He's not necessarily a talented player, like to the degree of Nobi and Take and Norma.
Right, let's see. Have you ever been in a bad place mentally with regards to your fighting game performance? If so, how did you overcome it?
I've definitely been there. Everyone's been there. I'm sure Jimmy was just there earlier this year. Yeah, you've been there. That's just normal. That's just you think you're terrible because you're having a cold streak, and that's totally fine to have a cold streak. Again, it's the thing about you have to be okay with losing. That's all mindset, and it's not respecting the process. It's like you're trying to win fast, and you have to understand that you're also human. You're not perfect. I'm definitely one of those people where you are your harshest critic, right here all the time. Unless I'm number one in the world, I won't outwardly say I'm good. I just think I'm decent, and I deserve to beat certain people. Not to deserve, but these are people I should beat with the skill I have.
Let's see.
Why
are some OG players, sir? Why are some OG players harsh towards the new age players?
Depends which OG players you're talking about, and it's a very ironic. It's not ironic. It's a hypocritical statement from those OG players. It's like fake humble, because I'm not like let's be honest here. I am fake humble. I'm fake humble because I have a cocky personality to a degree, but I am self-aware enough to understand this. And I'm also aware enough of my position, especially from all the losses I've taken. I'm aware of my position. It's not that I'm trying to purposely be uh, condescending to people. It's that I'm aware of my standing in the world stage, and I don't want to be put higher than I am or lower than I am. Don't underestimate me. Don't overestimate me. I am where I am.
Are you kidding me, guys? When you see JT in a deathmatch, just put your 401k on JT. That's every single time.
Don't do that.
Do it. I guarantee you, you'll get
Sorry,
rich. You'll get rich.
Trail beat me. Trail beat me. Was it Bin Chang might beat me depending on how he's doing. He has hot cold streaks too. Khalid Bogle probably beat me. This is for online. Offline.
Oh, no, we're all talking
Offline,
about
I can list so much more people.
offline. Come on. JT is my best Tekken friend. No, okay, I'll give you that. He's your Tekken best friend, but he's my Tekken teacher. So yeah.
Anyways, let's go back to the OG players. So I've had this discussion with some people, and so the hypocrisy is those OG players were bigger assholes than the people they are calling assholes when they were that same age. A lot of these people are dicks. Like, so I talked to Blake. What is it? Crap, what is his freaking name?
For who? For who?
No, crap. My friend in Japan, Mike. Mike in Japan. Not Blazing Peanuts. Blazing Peanuts, the guy from Florida. Anyway, it's this OG guy from SoCal, Mike. And so he talked about, because he's one of them, and he talked about this one guy who everyone thinks is the biggest jerk in the world when they were still relevant. I don't know if that person's still playing. And he's outright said, we made him. We were dicks to him. Why do you think he's a dick? It's our fault. And so you have to have the self-awareness to understand a lot of these new players are the product of you being a dick. And then now that you're older and you're over it, you don't see that they're just you. They're mirroring you.
All right.
So that's why I think they're harsh. Is they don't realize, it's like, you young whippersnappers back in my day. It's like, no, you created this.
Let's see. Sweeken and Adrian discuss this and point out that new players have all the resources, yet they cannot reach the level of old players are at.
So it depends how you're approaching that as well. The discussion, like, there's the ones who are harsh because they don't respect them as people, but then there's also not respecting them as a player. And I agree with Sweeken on this point that, like, there are several players that are like gaining like miles and miles of experience and skill. Like Jackie is surprisingly really good for a 1-year-old player. And that's because he has the resources and he has the networking to gain that first-hand experience.
He also has the time to do it too.
I mean that too.
I don't.
But I mean that's aside the point. The main point is he has the experience, because the thing I tend to be salty about, like, you see me get mad at new players and hate them, and funnily enough, I was watching the Flash Arrow crossover the other day, and the Arrow put it in the best way. The Arrow and Flash, not much of a spoiler, they're switching bodies right now, and Barry's having the greatest time of his life with the Arrow's abilities. And the Arrow's getting mad because the Arrow got these abilities from years of skill and sacrifice and, life-threatening situations. That's where all these skills came from. And then Barry's playing with it like a toy. What makes me mad, and so he's mad about that. It's like, how are you doing this? It took me so much of my life to hone those skills. So, same thing now. 15 years of my life experience is now in a 10-minute YouTube video. Do you know how maddening it is that people find the tech like that I spent years with Xiaoyu trying to figure out? Like, when I first picked her up 2-3 months in, I hit a roadblock, couldn't figure it out. I had to wait 2 more months for my teacher to just take a random business trip from Santa Barbara to Northern California, play me for like a day, and that was all I got to learn more about Xiaoyu for the next how many months. Like, and I had to do this over and over. Then I didn't Ling Massacre for a year, and I didn't meet Geo for another year. And then, so then there's these people who I need to be able to share my experience with and also have videos and, play more to be able to exchange these ideas and of experience and tactics. But for everyone in the current generation, it's on YouTube. And even in Japan, to go to Japan and get their skills, you have to go to Japan, or they have to come here for a random ass tournament, and you have to pay for their flight to come here, like the first strong style. We had to fly their butts here, and then you had to play them and to gain this secret knowledge that didn't get brought over through the language barrier. Now it's all right there because STL's such a great guy, and just putting it all out there with the most absurd combo videos in the world.
All right.
Or like Neji putting all the most absurd neta out there.
All right. So you guys don't know what's the relationship I have with JT. JT was actually the main reason why I went to the Tekken scene. So I met JT all the way back in 2013 at NCR 11, where he got second place behind Mr. Naps. And we met because like I was hanging out with, I think, Kiss Army. We were playing in this little tiny corner, just playing Tekken. And he was just there, and I was asking him so many questions because it was actually my first ever like big FGC event. Like I entered the FGC in 2013. That's where I met GT, and so he just became like very very friendly. That was the last time I saw him because after that he moved to Japan. So that's what happened, and the only time I met him after that was Evo, and that's the only time I met JT. Then fast forward into 2017, that is when I started to play games competitively, and knowing that JT actually has a reputation, and he was also NorCal, I go to him, and he taught me everything. So I kid you not, like when I went to Evo last year with JT, I didn't know fucking shit. Like I didn't know that if I wanted to like sidestep, I just had to move the joystick up or down once, because I was coming from a DOA perspective. But because of like JT's and also Batsu and Nobi and Shiri, that was my favorite Evo ever. I was hanging out with JT. My Japanese was like shit. Got better now. But because I was able to beat all these like good players, and it made me like got hungry for more better competition. So when I went back to like NorCal after Evo, I was placing high in tournaments. I actually won a tournament, and all because of like JT's help, and he was actually back from Japan as well. But I moved to Portland. Unfortunately, my drive for Tekken isn't there anymore, just for like a few reasons. The main one is because like I was focusing on school. I'm trying to get a scholarship. The other one is that all the players' quality went down. You literally went from like JTChinoy and Mr. Naps, and we'll say like K30, 3ZX, and Sarah T and Jeff. Then all of a sudden I go to Portland and I was like, oh cool, I'm playing Kenji and Beastmaster, but they retired and they don't play anymore. So who am I gonna play? And then the only competition I could have is this guy named Captain Neckbeard. He's actually a robot. He knows everything about frames. And the White Butters. And I already beat two of the White Butters in the tournament. I'm just trying to beat the third one. And I am not getting the drive to play Tekken a lot. So you guys already know. I can show a screenshot of this. I only put in 230 hours of Tekken for the entire time I met JT. Just 230 hours. But I have more fun going to like these tournaments that is not important. So like the one in Seattle. I went to Canada. I won a tournament in Canada, and then I won like their major monthly one, and I got 5th place. And it actually got me to be better. And any like Tekken questions or any accomplishments I do, I always send it back to JT just so I can get acknowledged because he is my teacher. Unfortunately, I am losing that drive. Hopefully that changes when I come back to NorCal in December or like this month, 2 weeks. So yeah, so my ultimate goal for Tekken isn't to win Evo, isn't to win a major, but I have like 3 goals. So one of those goals is to get invited to Bronx's house. the other goal is to actually get acknowledged by JT. It's hard, man. It's hard to get your acknowledgement. Are you fucking kidding me? And my third goal is
I mean, what do you expect?
yeah, exactly.
I expect people to be like
Yeah,
higher level,
yeah,
just high level period. And until then, I'm like, okay, you're getting better, which is good. But it's like, to me, my acknowledgement is when you get near my level, that means you have a pretty good understanding of the foundations of the game.
yeah. That's why you want me to play Cosme against you, apparently.
I mean, I tell Adrian the same thing. I'm like, you have to, you need your foundations, and like, so what Jimmy would say, and like semi jokingly, he says semi jokingly, if there's a Xiaoyu with good foundations, they'll be unstoppable.
Yeah.
And what that means is they can't be reliant on Xiaoyu properties. And
No.
there's only one in the world I'm aware of who plays like that. And he's a salary man that you will never meet.
Okay. And 3 is to actually get acknowledgement from like, well, Jim J Tran is one of them, but also from like Batsu and Nobi, and I don't know if Kobore acknowledges me, but one of those.
I mean, Nobi and bots will give it to you as a cordial, to be nice. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, you're doing great."
No. I don't want their pity shit. I don't want their pity shit. I want them like.
That's all you're gonna get. You'll never know when it's not pity shit. It's not pity shit when you beat them.
Exactly. I mean, just like, come on, bro. I mean, like, I got the only acknowledgement I got from Japanese players is probably either Chiri or Kosuke. But and Shake, Savin.
No, you get acknowledgement when someone like Take, someone more reserved, says you're good. Like Ao really mellowed out, so he's really nice now. So I wouldn't even say Ao. I think would be very quick to say you're pretty good, because he's a very nice guy now. But yeah, you need to find someone who won't ever say that. Like,
why you think that I'm fighting you, dude? Come on, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, amongst the Japanese players,
hey, you represented Japan in 2015.
Because I lived there.
Yeah, come on. Okay.
Totally fine by me.
So yeah, so that's the current relationship I have with JT. He's still my Tekken teacher. Honestly, if I put in more time and if I actually didn't have rules at my place to play Tekken, I'll probably get better. So I'm living with 6 women right now. And
women?
Yeah, 6 women. Bathroom's a mess. And,
all right. Oh.
And the thing is that I'm not allowed to play Tekken because they get annoyed with my buttons.
Well, time to get some of those silent buttons.
The thing is that I am very, very stubborn. I hate silent buttons because I don't like how they feel. Also, I'm broke as.
Then play stick.
Also, shut up. Also, I'm broke as.
I mean, not stick. Sorry, play pad. Play pad.
No, here's the thing. So you guys don't know. I also play Soul Calibur 6 competitively. I play on the Xbox One controller. I don't know how, but my roommates, like right next door, can actually hear my buttons on the pad.
They have absolutely no noise.
I know. I'm just like, how do you? I was like, fine. So I literally can't really play Tekken or Soul Calibur until I actually leave the house to go to like a session. So I cannot really practice. And
that's unfortunate.
And usually, if I do that, I will watch JT stream. If I can't play, I will watch JT stream. But unfortunately, JT doesn't fucking stream anymore, so I can't fucking learn. So
I don't know what to tell you. I need my recharge time to go to work the next day.
I know. So you were getting money too, man. Shit.
A little bit.
It was something like you don't have to pay as much for Spotify anymore. Anyways, check this out.
No, I didn't even do Spotify until that one guy gave it to me. I just never canceled.
All right, let's see.
Where are we? We're at really quick, Adrian. You are getting better. Keep it up. Don't worry about my acknowledgement, because my acknowledgement is the only time I truly give someone acknowledgement is when I bitterly, after they beat me a lot, say, "Okay, you got a lot better because you're beating me now." Through you.
Okay, we got a question from Trip and Hobbit. I'm pretty new to Tekken and I only play Steve. While strong, doesn't have nearly as rounded or generic toolkit as most characters. Do you think my rate of improvement will be faster if I use a different character for the sake of simpler fundamental options?
That if you're gonna be a Steve player, I would say just stick with him because he's very different, but still work on the basics. Because if you work, my opinion is if you learn the basics with a different character as a new player, and then you try to do like a low kick, you're not gonna get a low kick, or you're trying to think of these things, but now you're stuck back to the punch button. Just focus on your basics. Don't rely too much on the string. Start with basics like just a back one or a back two or a down two one. Not down two one two. That's stupid. In terms of like that's semi gimmicky. When you're doing your basics, you still have a down two that you can work with. Then like one one two. Just focus on those basics as a Steve player because he's generally a very basic focused character. I wouldn't say you're necessarily hurting yourself at all. Everyone becomes a character specialist in the beginning, and then you branch out later. In fact, it's probably better to stick to one character when you learn your basics.
All right.
So just remember to focus on your basics and keep in mind what you're doing wrong. And that should be it. Like, keep frames. The basics are like frames, movement, punishment, spacing, stuff like that. Focus on those. Regardless of character, you can still practice it. Unless you're like Gigas or Kuma, then you're playing something else.
Okay, let's see. Are you actually Jimmy J Chan's training partner?
Wait, what?
No,
Oh, that's not. Where did that one come from?
Discord. So you guys don't know.
Discord broadcasting?
So you guys don't know. I'm getting questions from Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. So
No, that's totally cool. What did they ask?
Are you actually Jimmy J Chan's training partner?
Training mode?
Training partner.
Oh hell no. I'm a waste of his time. I'm sorry. That guy, especially now that I don't practice competitively. Or even hang out with him on Fridays, just because there are a lot of social responsibilities I need to do on Fridays, so I don't go.
Okay.
But no, I've never been his training partner, especially because he lives in South Bay and I live in East Bay. That's a 30-minute drive, and he generally doesn't have people at his house. So there's a lot of reasons we were not training partners, but we have played a lot, and that's also, I am where he got a lot of his Xiaoyu knowledge. And in fact, in Japan, I was confident he would kill almost every Xiaoyu. And then, like, first time he was there when I lived there, he'd play like Doriden, and then Doriden showed him the Great Wall of Down 1. And that was annoying him for about 20 minutes. Then he got around the Great Wall down 1, and then I warned Doriden ahead of time. This guy's like just a Xiaoyu killer. This guy's been whooping my butt for 10 years. And he's like, we'll see. And then he's like, oh, I see. So I've given him a lot of experience in that sense. But I'm not someone that would be a rival to him in any capacity.
What's Article 13?
I don't know.
Okay, so we got this very interesting question we got two questions from Instagram. How did I get JT to do this? He doesn't show up or stream. I think that's for me. I just ask. JT is a pretty chill dude, and we actually, I don't know if you saw this on my Facebook, but Isaiah came up to Portland. So we were actually talking about like the NorCal FGC and stuff like that, and they say like NorCal FGC is like very very seclusive. Everyone except for JT. You want to get better with Tekken, you go talk to JT. If he's there, they'll like because you're like the most sociable person outside of like so we call you guys the Holy Trinity. So there's like Bronson, there's Jimmy, and then there's you, right?
Yeah.
So out of those three, you're like the most sociable and easy to approach to talk about Tekken.
I feel like that's a low bar relatively because I think I'm not super social in terms of making me put the effort in to talk to people or going out to meet people. All right, have a good night, Sam. But yeah, like if you see me somewhere, I'm happy to talk to you. But I'm not someone who gets overly excited about Tekken. If you talk to me about Tekken and ask for some general tips, I'm happy to talk about it. But like if it's about taking the time for me to meet you at like a hotel room to play Tekken, I'm not really someone who does that unless it's like my friends, just because it's a lot of energy and uh, similar thing where I need people of an X skill level to have that laughing, that giggle fit of a time.
Let's see.
But I'm still like very happy to talk to people in general, and
Wait,
I'll give on the spot. I'll play games with people on the spot, but like not a scheduler kind of person.
yeah. Makes sense. Okay, would you rather be a fox demon or a tengu, and why?
Oh, we're there.
Yeah.
If by fox demon you mean nine-tailed fox,
I think they're talking about like a kitsune, like a kitsune,
who?
a kitsune, like the
Yeah,
yeah. That's what I'm talking
yeah, like the ones that could change shape.
about. Yeah.
I should definitely rather be a kitsune. It just seems way more practical and fun. Tengu just, I don't know, they're ugly demons. They fly, they could turn into birds. That's some cool stuff. I'm not totally sure on any other standard abilities that true traditional ones have, but in general, because kitsune can change shape into people, and then, they're very sly and mischievous, it seems like a much more fun life if I'm going to be a demon.
All right, we have two more questions, and then if there's like no more questions, then we'll just end it with one more. So there will be three more questions.
Sure.
Let's see. How is Bronson in real life?
Hmm?
How is Bronson Tran in real life?
Um, he's what you see on stream, really. Like, he's a much more chill guy than you think he might be based on the stream, but what he says on stream, that's like really how we interact in general. But I mean, he still has like more chill moments. But it's largely all the same stuff. It's just in different levels. I mean, you could definitely talk to him about like regular things too.
All right, let's see.
Hmm.
Shit.
Very nice guy, but he's just a private guy, or like he's very happy with his circle.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
Oh, man, where was it? Okay. Oh, okay. Let's see. Who did you first learn to play when you started? Oh, we got more people. Who did you first learn to play when you started playing Tekken? Is there a character you favor more than the others?
I used to be a Yoshimitsu player, and I would learn Yoshimitsu now if I had more time. But him and Lei are actually high on him. Lei, Raven, pretty much all the odd characters are the ones I'd love to learn. Um, I just don't have, I'm just not putting in the time into the game anymore to bother.
I see. Dig says, "I love you, JT."
I love you too, Diggs.
Shit, where was I? Um, would you be competing or streaming anytime soon in the future? If so, when?
If I might look at the prices of tickets around Evo Japan, and I might go for the hell. Um, Other than that, Evo again. Like these local like not local, but domestic tournaments where you're paying like $500 plus the $300 hotel to go to a tournament where if Jimmy or Lil Majin or a Korean player shows up, you're gonna auto lose. It doesn't seem worth it to me to travel domestically for that amount.
Actually, now that I think about it, so a lot of people are saying like a lot of players don't want to compete with the Tekken World Tour next year, only because yeah, feel free to ask a question, TP Poker. Feel free to ask any question, we will answer. But this year's Tekken World Tour, it was only a $7,500 pot prize.
Yeah, I don't know where the money went. Everyone was money go. I'm like, well, that's hella not worth it.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't go like that. That would not pay for like my travel expenses. You might went all over here.
Oh yeah, last year it did, but I mean, didn't go to us.
Questions. Yeah.
Uh,
So how do you feel about the Tekken World Tour this year?
how do I feel about it? I mean, it's really great that they're promoting it, and I haven't been paying attention to statistics myself, but based on what Rip and Markman and them are saying in the commentary, it's just blowing up year over year in terms of general overall attendance and viewership especially is being way more consistent. Like every tournament consistently is like 5,000 plus viewers. Worlds was in the 40s or 50s. It was some ridiculous number. Um, sorry to take away from that thunder though, but then you look at league stuff into the hundreds of thousands on any given day. So I mean, the thing is, relative to fighting game scene, we're doing better than ever. It's a very popular game, but I mean, that's all I really think about. It's a really cool concept, grows, but we're not at like we're not matured by any means, and there might be better ways to run it really, but it's hard to say.
Okay, I'm a gamer and my girlfriend hates it. She also smells weird, and I want to tell her when she complains about my gaming. What do you suggest? I suggest that both of you should stop playing Smash Brothers.
Really quick digs. I don't visit because you don't invite me. She smells weird. I'm a gamer, and I want to tell her when she complains about my gaming. That's called breaking up.
you got no choice. Maybe.
No, I mean that's like an insta breakup. She's like, why do you keep gaming? And you're like, you smell. It's all like just. It's like, and we're done here.
All right. So, anyways, you guys don't know when JT was in Japan, he played players in the Sugamo. How do you feel about Sugamo and the Sugamo players, and what do you think was like what made Sugamo players different from everyone else?
Honestly, nothing because the majority of the Sugamo regulars were just players. They averaged Seiryu and under. So in terms of what you would call a legitimate Sugamo player, there's nothing unique about them. Everyone thinks about is the Sugamo players would be Nobi in them, but really they only come during events. So you're talking about the people who come out to those tournaments. So if you're talking about that, you're talking about just Tokyo players in general. Especially mostly you're talking about yeah, I'm gonna get to that.
Yeah.
The short answer is you don't. You just get smoker's lung. So I have smoker's lung and I don't smoke. So like honestly, for some reason I found the East Tokyo players didn't come out as much. It was always like Shinjuku, West Tokyo, or South Tokyo, which is like where Himajin is from, or was it Uryuu Claudio, whatever his freaking name was. I think it's Uryuu Claudio. Yeah, so those people would come out a lot, and especially people from my arcade, Safari and Ikebukuro. But yeah, that's what you're thinking about. And what makes them unique is just dedication. It's nothing special, honestly. It's just you're getting a lot of them together. But the vast majority of these players who are in the top 20 percentile, I'll be generous, say top 20, is it's just dedication. It's not until you're in the top 3 to 5% where it starts being about talent. Like by dedication, I mean the self-awareness and the discipline to change what you're doing wrong. Of course, there's like all the people who are playing relatively casual, like they play all day long. But it's the thing about not being aware of why you're losing. You're just going through the motions. And that's common, and that's fine. That's what people do to unwind. But when you start getting salty about it, you're honestly wasting time to me. You're not wasting my time, but you're wasting time if you're going to play to the point you're going to be salty about losing, but you're not trying. You should probably try.
Okay, let's see. How did you deal with the second smoke there? So this is actually JT. You actually know this person. This is Hansen. Hansen.
Oh, Hansen.
Yeah, so he's currently in Japan right now.
You don't deal with it. Oh, you could take the Kurokuro approach where you bring mobile fans and you position them outward from you.
Wait, can you say that one time?
Kurokuro legitimately does that. He puts 2 small fans on either side of him on the machine so they blow away.
Oh, hey, that's a secret Discord tech right there.
Or you could be like me and just take it. I lived in the Philippines for a year and a half where there are no smog regulations, and I worked in a nightclub where you smoke inside the nightclubs. People were asking me for lighter all the time. so many people there smoke. I had to get a lighter just to talk to girls. Then in Japan, again, you could smoke in the arcades. And so everyone around me is just smoking. So I have roughly 6 years of secondhand smoking.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
We got like a good one from Captain Neckbeard. As a
Sure.
player that is relatively new, the difference I notice between myself and more experienced players is that it feels like there is a noticeable difference when I play at my peak. There are times when I punish better, duck highs, and make confident predictions, etc. A lot better than when I play off. However, I can't achieve that ability to do all that well consistently. Is this just a product of inexperience? Did you notice this as well when you were developing as a player?
I mean, everyone's always developing player. That's just, yeah, I mean, that's just inexperience and lack of confidence. By lack of confidence, I suppose a better term is comfort with the game. To me, that means you aren't fully comfortable with this game and with the mechanics yet, which is, it's totally fine. It just means you need to build more comfort with your character and their limits. You need to understand their limits better so that you can trust your choices better. And even if you understand it at a conscious level, the thing is you have to practice it so much or like play with the character enough to turn it into instinctual. And for me, again, that went back to becoming better at that. Again, it was about being conscious. And of course, at first, being conscious, you're not going to be that great at it because you're thinking about it. So you have to suddenly make this thought go to your hand and do a thing. But then eventually, as you keep trying to do it and you do it once or twice and you see it works, the moment you see it works, it should start building into a muscle memory because you're like instinctually like, okay, I did it twice, I can do it again. Again, experience is the best teacher, right? So that's the thing. If you experience it, then you'll start doing it better. So I think you just need to build more experience and consciously commit to those correct options. Even if you mess up on it, even if you mess up, just keep committing to it, and then you'll eventually start building it, getting better. But it's dedication, you can't just get discouraged by that. That's the process.
Okay, let's see. Are girls in the Philippines easy to get into bed after the nightclub?
Uh,
You're
I
free to skip it if you wish.
I'm gonna skip it just because I don't want to say anything mean about anyone there.
Gotcha.
It's a very different culture, and so they just value a good time in a different way.
All right, let's see. Let's see. Is one of your goal? Wait, let's see. Do you still have the goal of making top 8 at EVO? Because you got ninth place.
Not really, just because I know that I'm not training very hard. And I'm sort of one of those people who are resigning to the fact that more than 10 players who are at a higher, who have a higher like skill cap than me are there every time. And I just don't want to be salty about that. I don't want to keep having that thing about this is all I'm focusing on right now anyway. Maybe later on I might try to go for it again. But right now I'm fine with it.
How did you do this year's Evo? Like, what place? I think they're asking what place you got.
I was top 32 or 64.
I know that you got. I know that you got top 32 because I think they said that you got 25th place.
Oh, I think I was 25th. Yeah, you're right. Not bad for someone who hasn't been practicing much. Honestly, if I was practicing consistently, I would have gotten at least one more round further.
Who did you lose to? I know that you lost to Eddie Boy Main.
I lost to EBM, which
you guys okay? You guys do not know the lore. So EBM beats JT at last year's Evo. Then JT beat EBM at Norcat Strong Style. And then they saw each other again at this year's Evo. And then EBM took it again.
Yeah, and then he retired. So fuck that guy. No, it's really funny because then I brought it up, or then I'm complaining about it, and then it happened again at Bronson's house. I think Eddie was in stream, and I was like, "Yeah, fuck that guy. Beats me and retires on a 2-1. Fuck that guy." And then he's like, "Man, shut up. You beat me at the last tournament and retired." I'm like,
All right.
I'm like, touche, I did, and I'll take it. And yeah, so it's just a really funny thing. Eddie's a cool guy. But yeah, so I lost to him, and then I lost to Al, which is why I have that new a refreshed opinion of Al because he vanished for a while. Last time I saw him, he like had an ego and was always giving me shit, being really disrespectful. Then I saw him this time. He was like very mellow, legitimate, cool guy. And we had a great time hanging out, right? Aside from him losing stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had a great time.
What?
But yeah, so I lost to him. We had a moderately. So he said it was a close, tough match. Health wise, that was not the case. But we were always running the clock because we both knew anyone does again that thing with the Korean players. He's not Korean, but the thing about fast, small. Yeah, whoever did the big move first lost. So I decided to do the big move, and he hop kicked me out of sidestep 4, and then that just like set everything in motion for me to lose.
Okay.
Um,
Are
yeah,
you
so that was a really fun match. So I did not mind losing that.
is do you actually teach Tanukana and Uryuu Link Xiaoyu strats?
I don't teach them any strat. What happens is, so Tanukana. It was funny. Adrian told me apparently she sees me as her senpai or her Onisan, which is really funny. I'm like, I guess so, because I scold your ass all the time.
I know.
Yeah, I love her. We're on really good terms. Not super close, but yeah, we're cool. So it's just sharing with her why she's losing. But she's generally very self-aware enough that she'll see why she lost. And every time after a tournament, for some reason we always lose roughly at the same time. I don't know why. We're always like, well, I'm dead. Me too. We suck. And funny one is anyways, I'll get to the side story later. But with Uryuu, she is one of the most veteran Xiaoyu players out there. I think she started Tag 1. The only female Xiaoyu player that's played longer than her is Maxi. Maxi's been playing since Tekken 3, so you literally can't play longer than her. And I think it's just raw experience, and then they have their own very comfortable default options. As every Xiaoyu does, they tend to have their own options. And when she sees my options, that's something she doesn't think about. They're like, oh, and then they tend to steal it. But every Xiaoyu does this. If you're two Xiaoyus who respect each other and you have a very long match, you start stealing other people's crap. Like, I remember I played Marubu once, and then I beat him in a death. Yes, hi Xiaoyu in Japan. Screw you all. And then like a month later, I watched him play another Xiaoyu, and then he used my setup that I was using on him,
Stealing.
and I'm like, you son of a bitch. But at the same time, I got salty and protective. But I'm like, come on, let's be realistic. We were all jacking each other's crap all the time. Like, Trey stole one of my things. I'll be like, ooh, I'm taking that, and then Trey do a couple things I forget about. And I'm like, I need to add that back into. So it's not necessarily I teach them. It's that as experienced Xiaoyu players, we all just keep retaking from each other because everyone's optimizing, right? They're optimizing and minimizing play style to make it efficient. But then they see another player playing efficiently a different way, and they just keep remembering those moves. And like, okay, let's throw that back in here in this part of my move set, and then we get a little more crazy. Yeah, so that's how it is.
Right. There's actually something that actually I'm curious about for Tekken. So
Yeah.
you guys don't know Captain Neckbeard. We call him the robot here in Portland because he knows everything about frame data. He also knows about gimmicks and stuff like that. However, we were playing with one of the white brothers. I think you know him. He goes by Insomnia. You know the white brothers, like there's Blackfire, there's K-Dog.
Right? Okay.
So he was playing with Insomnia, and then I was asking Insomnia, and said, "Oh, what do you think of Captain Neckbeard's playstyle?" And this is what Insomnia said: "He's not playing Tekken; he plays like a robot." What do you think that means?
I'd have to watch him play, but I mean, people say Jimmy's a robot, but that could be a completely different meaning because or he could be using the same concept, but Jimmy's much more advanced about it. Because the thing about Jimmy, and like if you watch their stream, you'll hear Johnny in the background constantly like, that's dirty. And the reason it's dirty is because Jimmy puts you in an inescapable 50-50. He's always 50-50ing. One's a launcher, the other one's a poke that hurts like a mother and gives him frames. That's what he's doing every time. So that's why they call him a robot, because it's perfect frames all the time.
I think is the reason why that they call Captain Neckbeard a robot is because like he only knows frames. He doesn't know much about opponents' habits yet. He only knows like if they're doing this string, I could punish it with this. Did they know how to punish with mines? But I think he's because we were talking about like when I play Tekken, I'm not playing the character. I'm playing someone else through a different character. So I'm basically playing.
Right.
So I'm playing against the player. We're just using different characters to get through that play. You know what I'm talking about? So I was talking to him, and
the thing I was talking about Japanese players about their habit, the character.
Yeah. So for me, like a lot of people when they play me, they're just like, "Oh, BK's getting a lot of reads." In reality, you put this in my mind. I focus so much on habits watching you play. I'm just like, I don't even give a fuck about frame data. So yeah.
So I actually the only time I care about frame data is for punishment, and the reason for that is partially because more important than the frame data is also the width of a move. In terms of like it's safe and they do these faults. Like one thing that happened a lot is Fangs would do down they would sometimes do the low splits.
Yeah.
And then wall standing one. Wall standing one's weak to the right. So frame wise they could do that all day, but more importantly, I could walk left and launch it.
How well do you know frame data?
I used to know it okay, but I mean Jimmy was my encyclopedia. I just know what I need to know to punish people, and that's all I keep track of. I just need to know when I can move again and when I can't, and what I can punish and what I can't.
So if I ask you like, hey, how minus is we'll say Fangs down back 3? Do you know?
Let me Google that for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we call Captain Decker. He's a robot. He knows to pay for every single situation.
Yeah, that Jimmy was our Jimmypedia.
Jimmypedia.
Yeah, back in the day, he's a Jimmypedia.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna ask you one more question. Unless you guys have more questions, keep it coming. But the last question I have for you is, what would you say to these people or to these new players that want to come into Tekken but are scared, and why they should play Tekken instead of playing other games?
Depends on your personality, really. I'm very quick to dissuade people from Tekken just because of the amount of dedication that's needed. So you need to be someone who can be focused on a single thing for a very long time and be very dedicated to the depth of knowledge it takes to be good at something. Like, because there's so much more to this than other games, and the momentum changes so much more in this. It's so much more neutral all the time. Whereas with 2D games, like I was watching grand finals of BlazBlue, and I was like, okay, this guy is like pushing super hard and doing all these like safe mid moves, and you just keep block, and then it's all like, well, he's being chipped away. How do I eventually get out? And then you literally watch it for 20 minutes pushing. But in Tekken, a single jab can mean absolutely nothing. A single down 4 means absolutely nothing. Having plus frames and then thinking only forward and back does you very little if there's a sidewalk option. There's so many things to it that you just need to be willing to spend the time on the game. But that's where the satisfaction comes in, because you're mastering something that's so deep, and then you get to have so much fun with something that has so many variants. Like depending on your angle on the left and right when you launch, the combo changes, or what you can do changes. Like all those brilliant like Nina players and the Paul players who, if they launch you at that off angle, they end the combo early, but then they get a free ground hit, which most characters can't do something like that. So there's these sort of the Oki, and the possibilities are just so much more vast than any 2D game could ever do. Honestly, in my opinion, even more so than Soul Calibur. There's just so much more variety in this game.
All right.
I think it also has to do with the movesets as well.
All right.
Just people have such ridiculously large movesets in this game compared to other games.
That's true. Tekken is a hard game. Someone asked on Discord, why do bitches love Tekken?
They don't.
So I'm guessing that they're trying to say girls. Why do girls think it's like Tekken?
Because there's husbandos for days, just like there's waifus for days. I don't know.
I don't know. All right.
Like I got friends who are like super into Tekken, but they just mean I love Hwoarang. Don't mind I possibly gay for Jen. Give me my Hwoarang.
Are you talking about Konoe?
Yes.
I miss that girl so much. All right. Okay,
She's
guys.
mom.
So we're just gonna talk for like 30 more seconds. You guys have any more questions? Let them in. If not, JT, do you have anything to say to everyone here?
Appreciate everyone coming out to, or not really coming out, but coming through to hang out, ask questions, and be part of the discussion. Listen to me talk about my point of view of just gaming in general. Um, for everyone that's relatively new to the game or looking for how to improve, remember what I said. Focus on your basics and focus on never stopping to learn and always be willing to lose because that's how you try something. No risk, no reward in terms of learning.
All right.
Yeah.
So JT, once again, thank you so much for joining me in this stupid podcast interview, even though it's like so last minute. But
Yeah, no problem.
and thank you everyone that came in to join the stream. I know that you guys are a fan of JT. The moment I said that I'm having a podcast with JT, one, I heavily promoted it. Two, do you have no idea how many people thought that you were dead, JT?
I don't know why you guys think I was dead. I lived in Japan and no one thought I was dead.
Yeah, but the moment you start streaming, people thought that you're dead.
I don't know why.
All right. Anyway, guys, thank you so much, JT. I'll see you back in NorCal when I get back.
All right, man. See you soon.
All right. Good
Thanks,
night, guys.
everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Peace.